Hello. So this is my week 9 design diary. Um, so I'll get into it. I've already spoke to you about these the type of dresser that I used, the old red American oak dresser, how well it was constructed and how well it was crafted, the different screws and fixings and stuff that was used in it and why they were used. That's just going through a bit of my manufacture. Um, what I want to get onto is the change I've made um, from my model here. I've changed to a four-legged model, a more structurally secure model with structures either side. I have the other one there, see them there. Um, these structures won't be going down along the side, they'll be um, firmly sat in there. I've this top box piece put together already. Um, I put it together in the lab. I done it with dominoes, and understand now looking back, not the best way to do it. Um, because trying to research it and stuff, uh, didn't understand it. Kind of understand it now. It's to do with the wood shifting and swelling and shrinking, and because I put the dominoes in and the dominoes swell and everything is so tight and compact, it really means that there's very little room for shrinkage or expansion. So from that point of view, fixings would have been better to give the wood that bit of play, but anyway, it's done. It's a learning. On the right here then is the proposed. I spoke about the way that it was, the way that this piece was put together with these so intricate dovetails and handcrafted pieces, and everything was done so well, stopped dovetails, like incredible stuff. And the initial idea I wanted was to bring that back. Sorry, fly. To bring that back in the form of a set of dovetails along these joints here. However, because due to lack of lab time and stuff like that, we weren't able to set up the jig because we had to shut down. But not to worry, I got it fixed and got it together. But it was just it would have been nice to bring back the old look and try and give a bit of try and give a bit back to what I took apart in the first place. Moving on. So ergonomics. Just wanted to talk a little bit about ergonomics because kind of unsure what I'll do surrounding ergonomics, but I'll talk about it anyways. So I don't know, can you make out this sketch? But the ergonomics is basically how a person grabs, fits, the comfort surrounding a person using the piece, how they grip it, how they hold it, how it's molded to the person. So I hope you can make that out. That's just the little hollowed out bits on a chair that you can see when I move on. So here, I looked at old school ergonomics because I'm making a piece inspired by an old piece from an old piece. So I don't see why I can't uh, make it look like it would have at the time. Old school ergonomics. So we have leather cushion. Obviously, I won't be doing any of that. Wouldn't be great at upholstering anyway, but don't have the material for it at the moment. Then we have something like this. This is what I was kind of hinting at here. These little hollowed out bits, and they're just so discreetly shaped, but it makes all the difference when you're sitting down on it. The same is done here, and the edges are kind of rounded, but this bit is so interesting at the back. Not only is it curved this way to allow for the kind of comfort to sit in, it's also curved back for when you're leaning back into the chair. It's just very, very, very well done, and that's a separate piece, I'd say. That's just stuck on, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was all one. given the craftsmanship of these people that made this furniture back then. Anthropometry, the study of variations in sizes of the human body, is essentially what it is. This diagram kind of gives you an idea. There's no measurements obviously on that diagram, they're just labeled, but each label gives you a sense of the different measurements that are taken, all the measurements that are taken actually. This is anthropometry. Anthropometry. It's very interesting. There's a lot to it. Far too much for me to get into. But what I'll be looking at is this measurement here, this measurement here, and this measurement here. So width, depth, and height. That's my main thing really. A lot of it is getting this right, because there's so many different variations that I just don't want to be too high or too low. It's often a bigger issue to be too low for an older person, because it's not about sitting down, it's about their issues getting up. And for a disabled person, if it's too high, it's very difficult for them to get up to it. It needs to be perfect. So also this measurement here for how high my backrest is going to be when they sit up into it, the armrest, and this here for how far out it comes. As you can see, it more or less lines up at the back of the knee, so that would be the front of my piece. So moving on, perfect imperfections. So this isn't off my piece. This is something I grabbed off the internet, but I just thought it totally solidified what I was trying to say. It's just the way that these pieces are created is so intricate and so precise, yet it's a difficult one to explain. The only way I could explain it is their perfect imperfections. So this dovetail is absolutely perfect. There is one little gap there that I would imagine is might have been post the make of this drawer, but every dovetail, there's no gaps. It's just totally flush, totally marked. One piece is marked off the other piece, and it's cut to perfection. And then you see that the two dovetails themselves are actually way out of proportion, but they're hidden. There's not even a need for them. They're stopped, and it's just phenomenal, the workmanship that went into it. But when I look at the pieces, so from the top, this is a perfectly cut square, and when you look underneath it, it's just these little imperfections that you nearly prefer to see them in it, rather than seeing a circle in here where the CNC machine went in and took out a little groove. I measured all these little dovetails. All of them are 1 mil to 2 mil off each. Their angles are all varied. The diameters of the dowels are all varied. In some cases, like this one here, the end of the dowel was filed down to fit into the top piece. The actual shaft of the dowel is a lot wider. It's about 0.5 mil wider than this piece. As I told you before, these were turned. The dovetail was cut and they were all turned individually, and it was just amazing to see the workmanship that's gone into it. But so far as modelling goes, I am this far. I have this model completed. I have the back legs taken off. I have it made back into 4 legs, and that's essentially my design. I don't have the cardboard to bring the armrest forward, but that's okay. I'm going to actually complete the piece, so there's no need for that. And this is my finished design.